As Debbie said earlier, unfortunately Elsa can't be with us today because she's been called down at short notice to London for an event that's being hosted by the Lord Mayor to meet with Liam Fox and the Director General of the WTO, who's a guy called Roberto Azevedo. For some strange reason, she thought that was a bit more important than this, so I will forgive her. So anyway, she sent me her presentation, and I said I would go through it on her behalf. So the Food and Drink Exporters Association is an association of some 150 members. It represents those members at numerous meetings and lobbies on their behalf. Examples being that they are currently attending monthly FDF, that's Food and Drink Federation, and EU exit roundtable meetings to brief senior officials on the concerns of the sector, that's the food and drink sector, on the forthcoming Brexit. They also work, and following on from what Steve was talking about, they have a branch of the Food and Drink Exporters Association which deals specifically with international exhibitions. Their partner in this area is a company called PS8, and they run UK pavilions at around about 14 international trade shows each year. So PS8 are instrumental in SILE next week that Steve was talking about, but other exhibitions that they are involved with are things like Anuga, Hofex, and so on and so forth. Now, they also, as a federation, facilitate a number of events that they're always looking for new markets to target. So I speak to Elsa quite a bit, and we talk about seafood target markets and our priorities, and we see whether we can work together in meeting the demands. I should say that Seafish are a member of the Food and Drink Exporters Association. The membership covers a wide cross-section of food and drink exporting companies, and in terms of company size and type, they are large, small, covering all sectors of the food and drink industry. These are just some of the members, but they've also got a number of associate members from development associations, home nation development organisations. So you see things like Scotland Food and Drink, Invest NI, and so on and so forth. FDEA have recently been talking to the Food and Drink Federation, and they monitor a lot of the work, the exports that are being undertaken. So it's interesting to note that food and drink exports continue to grow, and they are actually bucking the trend of other sectors. The EU continues to represent a significant share of food and drink exports, which I guess is a bit of a concern as we approach Brexit and the uncertainties that is going to bring. So as you can see, the 2017 figures up there are showing a all food and drink increase of 9.7%, 10.3% increase in exports to the EU, non-EU's increase of 8.9%. The half-year figures for 2018 are showing an equally healthy picture, and it's interesting to note that practically all of the EU markets are showing good growth. Food and Drink Export Association have recently conducted a survey of their members, and about 90% of the respondents reported that export sales are better than those in 2016. Top reasons for these increases in export sales are said to be exchange rate advantages, so the weak pound is undoubtedly helping export sales. New product launches are which include bespoke products for specific markets. So exporters are now talking to buyers, looking at markets, researching the markets, and actually developing products specifically for those markets. They're reporting stronger sales to existing customers, which reflects a commitment to their markets and to their customers. They're showing an increased investment in international sales. So the successful exporters are now starting to put significant resource behind their efforts in these markets. Excellent relationships with existing international customers continues, and companies are investing in international markets, including, as I say, the launch of new products. So following on from Steve's top 10, FDA have got identified the top 4 areas of the world for food and drink exports. These 4 areas represent just about 3/4 of total food and drink exports. So the EU 27 currently accounts for around about 18% of food and drink exports. Oceania and Australia, 15%. Asia, 14%. And the Middle East, 12%. So these are the really important areas. And the areas actually reflect very closely those that we, Seafish, are seeing. And actually, as Steve was saying, the DIT are also seeing for this region as well. In partnership with the Food and Drink Federation, they've developed a guide that draws on the experiences of successful food and drink exporting companies. And the success is summarised in basically 5 steps. Firstly, to ensure that export objectives are understood and embraced by the whole company. So everybody in the company is buying into the message of exporting and the importance of exporting. Undoubtedly, a really important part of the success for exporting is that of doing the research. It saves time and it gives credibility when meeting with buyers. And following on from that research is understanding the markets and the customers and to recognise the opportunities. Steve, before in his earlier presentation, was talking about OMIS. And Seafish have a number of export reports on our website that we commissioned from OMIS. So, if we're going to summarise, and we're going to 2019 and beyond, so how do we prepare for the unknown? Right, difficult question, and I'm not going to try and answer that now, but what we can be doing as exporters is committing to exporting. So successful food and drink exporting requires that commitment through the business. We need to be prepared for a rapidly changing trading environment. Now that's going to be changing certainly in the next 6 months, and we'll probably continue to do so for a couple of years after that as well. Researching markets is absolutely fundamental to the success of any exporting business, and getting as much information as possible is absolutely fundamental. So it's researching, it's getting to know it, it's actually meeting the needs of the buyers, and using the information that is available. Here comes the sales bit. The Food and Drink Exporters Association membership is available to all exporting companies, and if you're interested in joining, then please contact Elsa. Thank you for that. The final presentation in this section will be on a trade tariff tool that has been developed by Seafish. Our senior economist, Arena, is going to talk us through it. So I'll hand over to Irina.